Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the City of Quinte West Committee of Adjustment meeting. The committee is made up of 5 members. I'm a public member. My name is Harm Zelstra. I'll be the chair this evening. And on my immediate left is public member Doug Phillips. And on his left is public member Paul Lafferty. And on his left is public member David Jesse. And on our far left is Councillor Jim Ellier. On my immediate right is Kelly West, Manager of Planning Services, and on her right is Anne-Marie Cunningham, Committee of Adjustment Coordinator, and I might say welcome back.
Thank you.
Because this is a hearing under the Planning Act, when the committee gets to the applications for consideration, each application will be brought up in the order listed on the agenda with an opportunity for public input given prior to discussion and consideration by the committee. If you wish to make a comment, please raise your hand to be recognized by the chair. Consent decisions made tonight will have a last day of appeal of December the 5th, 2024. If anyone wishes to receive a copy of one of the notices of decision, please use the pad of paper provided by the sign-in sheet to indicate your name, mailing address, or email address in it, and which decision you would like a copy of, and it will be sent to you. If anyone has not signed in on the sign-in sheet, please do so, as this is used for the minutes of the meeting. Could I have any disclosures of pecuniary interest tonight? Hearing none. Could I have approval of the agenda for this evening, November the 14th? Moved by Paul, second by David. All in favor? Carried. And approval of the minutes of October the 10th, 2024, with one addition that that Jamie O'Shea attended virtually and spoke. It's not recorded on the minutes that were handed out to us. So approval of the amended minutes. Moved by Jim, seconded by Doug. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. The first application is consent application B27-24S. The owner is Devanco Homes, care of Brian Weinwald. The agent is Watson Land Surveyors. Description is part lot 26, concession 4, plan 21R, 26641, part 3. The address is 287 Walbridge Road in Sydney Ward. The purpose of this application is to sever 330 square meter parcel of land for lot addition purposes. The severed and retained parcels are located at 287 Walbridge Road. The proposed lot addition would add a strip of land to the benefiting property at 267 Walbridge Road, part lot 26, concession 4, plan 21R 2286, part 1. The severed parcel has no frontage, has a depth of 271.5 meters, an area of 330 square meters. The retained has a frontage of 47.6 meters, a depth of 178.01 meters, and total area of 0.79 hectares. Any comments or concerns from the public regarding this application? Hearing none. Any comments or concerns from the committee members?
Move the recommendation, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Moved by Jim, seconded by David. That application B27-24S by Devanco Homes to sever a parcel of land at 287 Walbridge Road, part lot 26, concession 4, plan 21R-266 4-1, Part 3 in the former township of Sydney is hereby approved, subject to the following conditions. 1, that a registered survey for the severed parcel be submitted to the city. 2, that a draft transfer for the severed parcel be submitted to the city. 3, that the tax account for the subject property be paid up to date. 4, that the severed parcel be deeded as a lot addition to the recipient property, and the applicant's lawyer submit an undertaking to register a consolidation on title, giving effect to the lot addition. And 6, that the applicant's lawyer submit a legal opinion verifying that the lot addition lands will merge on title with the recipient parcel under the Planning Act. And 6, that a zoning bylaw amendment be in effect for the severed parcel and the benefiting lot at 267 Walbridge Road pursuant to the Planning Act. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. The next application is consent application B26-24S. The owner is Doran Homes Limited and Hastings Enterprises Incorporated. Legal description is part lot 2 and 3, concession 6. It has no municipal address. It is north of 36 Rosewood Drive in Sydney Ward. The purpose of this application is to sever 1,027 square meter parcel of land for lot addition purposes. The proposed lot addition would add a strip of land to the existing draft-approved Rosewood Acres subdivision lands. The severed would have no frontage, would have a depth of 188.8 meters and total area of 1,027 square meters. And the retained would have a frontage of 45.7 meters, a depth of 663.2 meters, and total area of 21.2 hectares. Any comments or concerns from the public regarding this application? We'll note that this application was deferred from last month's meeting in order to I was going to say appease, but to have a settlement of some of the issues, or one of the issues that was brought forward. And I understand that that issue has been resolved. Oh, I see Jamie here tonight. I was looking for you on the screen here. Yeah, great. Good to see you here. Any comments or concerns from the committee members?
So, Mr. Chair, there's just the deferral recommendation from the Lower Trent. Has that been satisfied to the satisfaction of the city? And it was noted to be a recommendation, but I don't see it as one of the 4 bullet points. Oh, did you? Okay, perfect. I'm good. I recommend that we move forward with the approval.
Okay.
So Doug, you.
It was moved by Doug.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Seconded. Dave?
David?
You're gonna second
Yeah,
it?
okay, thank you. It's moved and seconded that application B26-24S by Doran Homes Limited, Hastings Enterprises Incorporated, to sever a parcel of land from property with no municipal address located north of 36 Rosewood Drive, part lot 2 and 3, concession 6, in the former township of Sydney is hereby approved, subject to the following conditions. 1, that a registered survey for the severed parcel be submitted to the city. 2, that the tax account for the subject property be paid up to date. 3, that the severed parcel be deeded as a lot addition to the recipient property, and that the applicant's lawyer submit an undertaking to register a consolidation on title, giving effect to the lot addition. 4, that the applicant's lawyer submit a legal opinion verifying that the lot addition lands will merge on title with the recipient parcel under the Planning Act. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Any other business to come before this committee this evening? Kelly?
Mr. Chair, yeah, we have a request from the applicants for 133 Carter Road, which was under application B124M, so our first application of this year. That was Bar Cove and Beach Road. You might remember that. That's Carter Road? I thought I said 133 Carter Road.
No, you said Bar Cove and Beach.
Bar Cove and Beach Campground.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Campground.
Yeah.
Camp Barkoven, sorry. So in which we, the committee approved that consent application with some conditions. And condition number 4 was that all the trailers, buildings, and structures that were along the southerly property line be moved to comply with their zone, the required zone setbacks, and that it be confirmed by an Ontario land surveyor. The applicants have come back to staff to request that condition be modified, and of course, we as staff can't do that. That has to come back to committee to review that, whether or not you would be supportive of removing that condition. There is the opportunity that we could deem it as something minor, and we do not have to recirculate to the public, or if we deem it as something major, then it would have to get recirculated to the public again for that removal. So I'm just giving you a heads up on that is there, and we wanted to know, because we will have to send out circulation if you think it's a major one. Should I say staffing?
You can. We did have submissions when they applied in the past.
Yeah, we had submissions from people. I was asking Anne Marie if I should give my opinion or if I should keep my mouth shut until you guys decide. That's what I was leaning over asking her.
Through you, Mr. Chair, as you recall, I had to declare a conflict, and I wasn't sure we were going to be talking about this. I know we're not making a decision tonight or anything, but I'll let you talk about it. I'm going to leave the meeting, and I haven't filled any forms because I didn't realize I was going to have a conflict earlier. So anyway, I'll leave it with you, and I'll vacate my chair.
Okay, thank you.
Good call, Jim.
So the decision that you need to make right now is just whether or not you feel that it is a major change to completely remove that condition. And then if that's the case, then we have to recirculate. Whereas if you think it's not such a big deal to remove that condition, then we could just simply place it on the next available spot for the agenda.
I forget exactly. I can picture the property in my mind, and I thought it was, I was going to say unreasonable to request them to move all those trailers. Exactly how many feet are we, or meters, whatever, are we looking at?
In it is quite a number. I would say it's probably almost every single trailer that's along that southern
Yeah.
property line, and I didn't count them, but there's probably easily 25, maybe, I'm gonna say along that way. And it's of varying distances. Some are a little bit further away than others. Some are like this, to that property line, to that fence line.
Do you remember how many people actually?
Well, the neighboring property owner during the original application, because this was applied for twice. The first time it lapsed because they did not meet that condition. But the adjoining property owner actually had made a submission to the committee when it was first applied for, expressing concern with the fact that so many of the trailers were so close and possibly in some cases, I believe, encroaching over the property line. So there was concerns about safety and, just the overall state of the buildings and the locations being so close. So that was part of why that condition was imposed by the committee the first time. The condition was not met during the first application's timelines, so that one lapsed, and then they did reapply, and the indication at that time was that the understanding was that the trailers would be required to be moved. And then the application came back and was approved with the condition the second time as well. And I wasn't aware until today that they weren't willing to do that, because it was my understanding that they were, but it's up to you. Under the act, you can deem it to be a minor change, and then we could just bring it back to you next month. But if you do think it's a major change, since it is a complete removal of the condition, and there was a concerned neighboring property owner, then I can circulate a request for a change of conditions to the public, so that they have an opportunity to come to the committee and make comment.
I'd personally think, because there was a concern, that we should recirculate it, that it would be deemed major.
I would concur with that. That's been an ongoing issue in the past.
It's been there for a while. Any estimate, if we reduce the setback, is there any estimate, like how many trailers are imposing on the property?
Doug, your mic, can you repeat it with your mic on?
I would like to know how many trailers would be imposing on the property if we changed the setback regulations?
There would be probably 20 to 25, is my guess.
They're all,
Yeah, if memory serves me right, some of those trailers probably wouldn't survive a move because they're kind of semi-permanent.
I think that their staff and I, Katie Whitehead, was out at the site and looked at it. I think there's probably 2 or 3 that might not survive a move. However, I think there are quite an additional number of decks that are attached to the
Yeah.
trailers that are brand new or newish, sheds that are also associated with those that are new, fairly new, that, the wood still looks very, very new, they're in good condition, that are also encroaching on that. So it's not just the trailers that would have to get moved, it's all structures.
Well, my opinion, I think that would be a relatively minor change to allow what's existing to stay. It would be a financial hardship for the owners of these trailers to move everything, maybe not so much for the owner of the property, but it would be passed on to the people who own these units and rent the space from the owner. I don't think there's going to be anything that is going to be built on the new property, the severed property, that would impact what's there now. So my view would be just to remove the condition. My opinion.
to you, Chair, what about
Mic on,
the,
mic on.
what about the option of obtaining some land from the adjacent property owner to square that? Not a chance that that could ever happen?
No, I don't think, I mean, one, you'd have to make sure that landowner was willing, but also, again, just from that site visit, they're not as close, but they do have, like, I remember a road with a turnaround that's really close to the property lines there, so they have their configurations already set, so I don't think that would be a possibility to gain land from him.
The cost of that, too, would be pretty excessive, especially once he's already gained consent for severance. It's just the condition that is stopping this from going forward. I say we're affecting 25 units that aren't owned by the property owner. It would be passed on to everybody who rents that spot, and I don't think that's fair to them, personally. But Like I
So-
say, that's just my opinion. You guys can think of however you want, but.
So one thing I would also add, as Anne-Marie said, they had already gone through this process asking for a consent, and this was a condition back then, and they failed to do it. I don't understand why they came back for another one and knew that this was going to be a condition. Why haven't they put in place, a process? Maybe they're not making it, everybody move it at the same time, but as maybe changeover happens and that, or again, like I said, there are new decks, new sheds that are being built, and they're still allowing people to put them wherever they want, so close to the lot line, where they should have been saying, no, anything new that's being built or anybody that's coming in, we need to move it, and so it could have been done as a stepped kind of process is my thought. You can see where I'm leaning towards, that if we do, say that we would entertain their application to remove it, it would be a major, because I'd want it circulated. The other thing is, if we go with saying we will not make them move it, take that condition out, not make them move it, well, they're losing their legal non-conforming status for those existing setbacks, because we're changing the property, right, when we're creating that new severance. So a condition would be, then you'd need a zoning bylaw amendment to recognize those setbacks
So
that
they
are
still have
existing.
to, there'd still be a cost.
There'd still be
involved.
a cost, but it would go to, as you say, it would go to the property owner, not necessarily to those that are
Well,
renting the trailers.
Yeah, I think that would be
Yeah.
a more fair way to do it, I guess. So
We can't prove those, Brian, but we. can't
what do
prove- we
you,
don't have building
what do you
permits.
require from us?
So Anne Marie said maybe a motion, do we need a
I
motion?
would say a motion, that you deem it to be a major change of condition or a minor change of condition, so that staff can have the item brought back on the next agenda. Keep in mind then, that would also impact the condition, you'd also need to add a condition for a zoning amendment or something, which might not potentially go through, because the ones that existed weren't legal non-conforming probably, and the ones that have been, as Kelly said, there's been more that have been built. Those certainly are not legal non-conforming. So everything would have to get addressed through a zoning bylaw amendment. So I would suspect you'd be removing that condition and adding a condition for a zoning bylaw amendment in order to recognize what's in place there, and that, brings up the whole option of input from the public again. So I don't know if it would really accomplish what you're,
We're kind of going one way, yeah.
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 That's
So-
what I was saying, go one way or the other. What do we
So
do?
your original thought, David, was to bring it back to the committee as a resubmit and give public input, and then,
As a major.
yeah,
Especially now if we're going to end up in the same process in a roundabout way.
yeah.
That's where I was leaning.
So you're going to make that motion?
I motion, Mr. Chair, to consider it a major
Change of condition.
change of condition and bring it back to the committee on after public submittal.
And Paul, did you second that original?
And then I feel like I would want to do another site visit so I could see it.
Yeah, well, that'll give us an opportunity to do that as well.
Well, if they bring it back committee, we'll get a,
Okay,
Because I know my own experience being in prevention, it's been a long outstanding issue
Exactly.
between those two properties.
And we'll also, we'll have a staff report for you too, right, with that, so we will have staff's opinion, that you can consider as well.
Did they provide any supplemental information with the request, or why they couldn't comply? Like, were there any reasoning, or?
I think the major reason is sort of what Harm said about some of them wouldn't survive the move, as well as some of their tenants would have difficulty with it given their physical health and age.
I'd say I remember spending a fair amount of time with this application when it come up the second time. You know, dealing with these seasonal locations is hard all the time because they play a little bit loose and free with the regulations. Not only the owners, but also the people that move in and rent. You know, they figure, well, it's just a trailer, we can put a deck here, or we can put a shed there, or whatever, you know. And it's not really my property, so I don't really care. But, you know, sometimes when you're dealing with, you know, some major severances, these issues come up, and we, you know, in a way have to deal with them. Usually not popular, but either with the tenant or with the owner, but you know, they do have to be settled one way or the other, so. So the motion is to bring it back as a major
I think
change.
with the history, I think we have to do that.
yeah,
Try
okay.
and clear this up for once and for all. Whether that's possible or not, I don't know, but
Well,
I think we
like
have
I say, the owner's already paid twice, I guess, for, so, you know, he's invested a fair amount of dollars to resolve the situation too, so I'm sure he'd like to get it resolved.
I would go with Dave, and
Okay.
it's a major.
Passing that motion?
Pardon?
Mr. Chair, all in favor?
A call vote?
Yeah.
Three.
Okay.
3 against 1. I'll stick with my original, you know.
You're entitled.
Yeah.
But I just think the ongoing history, I think it's time to try and, you know, maybe we can't even satisfy it, I don't.
I say we always try to make everybody happy. We fail most of the time. But that's why we're here.
Yeah.
I have a motion for adjournment. Moved by Paul, second by Doug.